What's up, world? It's time. No more pretending. Preseason is over. Who can even remember what happened? It's your boy Sway from MTV News, and we are back with episode Michael Jordan's comeback season number of Knifey Lion Radio. Oh, baby, we are the gift. My name is Jonah, reminding you that we may have lost a Brian Malone, but we still have a Chuck Wharton, and he counts for at least 7 normal people. Joining me in the first place palace is informed instigator, Zach.
Hi.
Hello. Also joining me via technology is Nick from Soccer.
Hi.
Today, let's put a bow on the preseason with our final preseason recap. You guys are all expecting a Koch watch, which means if you zig, I zag. Or if you zag, you know I got to zig. So I won't do one. But I'm sure we'll mention him. We'll also see if our MLS season predictions have changed at all after actually viewing the team. I'll give you a brand new edition of Kevin's MLS Minute. We'll do some
Potpourri.
And then we'll turn off our mics, possibly forever. Probably not. This week,
We decided to go through the whole preseason. Then once the season starts, we're out.
I don't want to talk about real games. But if you're listening, John Hark's Cave of Wonders, that's the thing. Also, tentatively, still sponsored by Speedway. Nick, Speedway, talk to me.
Yeah, so nothing. I haven't been to Speedway. Seriously, man, I've been hitting UDF. There's all kinds of clothes to be bought there, and I've been just stocking up.
Beanies, gloves, ice scrapers, sunglasses. It's probably about it. Pocket protectors.
Actually, no, I did usually get those Duraflame logs.
Yeah.
And I did stop at UDF and pick one up the other day, so that's my latest gas station purchase.
Yeah, I used to buy those when I lived down by Big Bone Lick by myself. Would heat the house with wood, and that's the easy way to do it. Duraflame.
You're like, wow, Zach living alone at Big Bone Lick? We don't have the full story at all. So, Amelia, if you got questions, you have to DM them because that's too personal. For the pod, let's get right into it. Speedway. This week's recap. Let's not forget Wednesday we played the Chicago Fire. Nick, you probably already forgot. Don't say anything. I'm going to keep going now. But we started what you would think was our B team, except for Alan Cruz, who should be A team. And, wow, what can you say? One of the worst displays I've ever seen on the field. But the bright, shining moment, definitely in the first half, was our boy Spencer Ritchie with a start. Thanks to our porous defense, lack of midfield, and no holding offense. He was able to get a lot of shots on him, and I made some spectacular-looking saves. TT was sweating in his Polish sausage shoes. And besides that, there wasn't a lot to hang your hat on. And I don't know, Zach, do you remember? Can you go that far back? What do you remember? Chicago Fire, B team.
I think you pretty much summed it up. Everyone had a bad day, but I think TT had the worst day, probably.
Him and Alan. Nick, do you remember that far back watching the stream?
I do. That was really bad display of soccer, pretty much. The two things I remember were us commenting about the lack of chemistry. There was no building. There was no playing through the midfield. There was no fucking midfield, period. You had Chicago Fire, who had guys up top, Alexander Katai, who just was a special player and something we totally lacked. But other than that, there was a ton of errant passes and shitty touches. And we were talking about are these guys just fucking tired, or what's the deal? There's no real excuse to not be able to control ball that's played to you on the ground. Even though we got crushed by the Crew, that was our style of play in that Fire game was awful until the last 15 minutes.
It was an odd one too, because that's the lineup that's been looking pretty sharp when they come in, and everyone has been talking man, our USL guys, when they got on, they have all this chemistry and this and that, but they definitely did not have that. And I think Koch summed it up pretty well, that when one of the back three had the ball, or if Richie had the ball, no one was moving for them. There was no movement in the midfield. No one's showing for them. So they just have to get bypassed. And then Maddox is up there chasing shadows, I guess. that's not the right phrase, but he was. I just feel like he must have been frustrated. He's got no service coming from anybody, anywhere. One that stands out for me is Nazmi playing out wide, and he's being asked to defend most of that first half, and he just seemed like really out of his element. And it is. That's not his position. These guys are being crowbarred into this formation that Couch seems hell-bent on playing, and I just don't understand.
Yeah, the kind of peculiar thing, if you take like a 30,000-foot perspective of this whole tournament, was our USL guys played really well against the USL team, and our MLS guys did not play that well against the Battery, but our MLS guys played way better against the other MLS teams. So,
yeah, when they came in finally with like 20 minutes to go, you could it was immediate impact difference. It was the reverse of when the USL guys came in the other game. Lamar got a great outside the box goal. Eric Alexander looked like the Ballon d'Or winner that we all suspected he was. Hilarious seeing him out there on the field. We've mentioned it looks like a rec league guy just stumbled out on the field, kind of hunched over, taller than you think, and he made Dax McCarty basically take a fucking dump in midfield. And I could watch that till the cows come home. But after the next game, I'm not sure he's the spark that we need.
It reminded me of the entirety of last season where we played like shit and then one moment of individual brilliance. And then the result doesn't look bad.
We moved on last night. Tonight's Sunday. You're hearing this on a Monday. You're already confused. We played Columbus Crew, and the heck is real preseason fixture that chomping at the bit at. This time we got what we would expect is close to our normal starting lineup. Eric Alexander wasn't in there, though. And what can you say from the jump? We looked outmatched, outclassed, and we were outperformed. Two goals in the first 30, 35, I don't know, 20. I don't remember what it was. An early goal, a real early goal, and then another goal, both by Giassi Zardes on our boy TT. And before we get to the red card, which was awesome, how about those first 30 or so minutes of looking like chickens with their heads cut off out there?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think the difference is that the Crew, I mean, they got guys who've been playing together, Higuain and Will Trapp, Zardes, whatever. I mean, these guys have been playing together. They did really well last season. They're just a better team, and they know each other, much better than all of our guys we just brought in. And they have difference makers. Got Higuain, who's playing some very creative through balls and setting up Zardes. That just, to me, that was the big difference, is that we're playing two teams of guys that are able to play.
Don't you dare mute that. He was gonna say
one big difference. Also, they've got a striker who will bear his chances. Must be nice.
Yeah, it's fun watching him with a glitch when you see the stream is loading horribly, and slowly the ball is going down to Adi. Like, oh, here it comes, coming down. Chop, 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 chop. The ball reaches his foot, and the anticipation of his touch. And slowly in the next frame, the ball is actually 4 feet the other direction. Yeah. But
they were kind of sloppy goals too. I know the one hit off someone's face and then like bounced back, and then they had the one where Hoyt got shook and then Waston cleared it off the line. That was a certain goal almost. Also,
Nick, you want to put a bow on your point?
Yeah, sorry about that. No, I think my point was that the last two games we just played teams that had special players. You're just better when it comes to like moving the ball and knowing each other's positions and supporting each other. And we were just talking about, like Zach's pointing out, the formation, and it's just, for me, there is just no midfield. I mean, it's just like Adi was having to go through in this Crew game where we're just like bypassing the fucking midfield, and the Crew was totally taking advantage of that. I mean, all their through balls coming out of the midfield into the box, I mean, they were just fucking dicing us up. I don't know. I think we got to get our fucking midfield involved somehow, and if we don't, we're gonna have a long season.
Yeah, I agree. We were the better team. I will say, at the one point there was a long ball from Waston to Adi. I was like, oh man, I hope this isn't the connection of the season. Another classic Waston to Adi ball. That's what we need. What do we think about TT? I've been a little bit hard on him. Some of it I'm just teasing a little bit. I'd say one was somewhat questionable. The other two, you can't really put on him. But he has an overall vibe that doesn't leave me with a lot of confidence in him. He seems a little bit like a flapper, a little bit like a flailer. You know, the one that was beat near post that felt like a kick save by somebody else, but he's just like so into diving. And I don't know. He's not a lot to go off of, but so far, Richie was lucky. He got some chest-high saves that made him look great. But
that near-post goal would be the only question mark of the goals. Because, it seems like maybe you could block that with your foot. However, that one curler in the second half, I mean, he was full stretched. I think that was just perfect. No, the scary ones were like, he went for another one and flapped. And then there's the one he caught near post and jumped out of bounds.
He's got a nervous energy.
He does. He doesn't instill confidence in me. I don't know if that...
It could just be
just
that.
Me.
That could be the problem with not playing in 18 months. Is that when you're finally in a game, you're kind of like a little jittery. And but I hope if he's gonna suck, I hope he's really bad. Sort of the point they're like, okay, we got to make a change. I don't want him to just like kind of suck, and they're like, we're just going to stick with him because Spencer's ready. Okay, he's ready. I don't know if you saw, there were some hot takes. Some people like, how could we? This is what happens when we leave Evan Newton behind. He should have been on this team. I'm like, well, Evan Newton was the backup last year, so he wouldn't be higher than a backup this year. But no, that's definitely true. We're kind of lost without Evan Newton out there. That's something that's been weighing heavily on my mind. What else? Yeah, let's talk about that red card. Before Lamar got that red card, he was probably the most exciting player on the field. He was juking a bunch of guys out. In fact, right before he got the red card, he juked through about 3 guys and then lost the ball and then was like, fuck this. I'm going to take out Will Trapp pretty hard. And he did. How about you, Nick? You got anything to say about Lamar? His red card or beforehand?
Well, the red card definitely looked worse at full speed. I mean, it was definitely a card. It looked like Will Trapp was basically, had his back toward him and 2 feet and everything. So, whatever. But he was definitely the player, I think, out of all 3 games, for me at least, even taking the goal that he scored aside, which was a great goal, that looked like he was the most creative and with some of his touches and the way he was able to hold possession. To me, he was the guy I was kind of like, oh, okay. I'm glad this guy's on our team. Having to see these guys for the first time in these last 3 games. So,
Zach, and you've just been the king of bashing Roland Lamar all preseason. Do you have a change of heart?
Yeah, I like him now. Thought he was scum before.
I was thinking when we were having issues signing him and we didn't really know what was going on, like, are we ever going to sign this guy that we picked up in the expansion draft? I had kind of gotten to the point I was like, we don't need, whatever. I could take him or leave him. It'd be nice to have another winger, but we don't need Roland Lamar. And then as soon as he was playing, I was like, oh God, we need Roland Lamar. It's like literally nobody else is playing like this or in this way or creatively on the wing. It was like, wow, where would we be without him? And we need him. So it was nice to see a little fire out there.
Yeah,
he's misguided.
I think our starting 11, if you took a survey, it would vary drastically from person to person, but I think everyone would put him in for sure.
Yeah, I feel like Darren Maddox is one of the 11 best players on the team. And so I hope they find a way to get him into the starting lineup. I don't know if Koch, who knows what's going on in his brain, but I feel like he's got to be out there. He didn't do much great in that Fire game, but it was basically him and Richie were the only things positive to speak about. And so hopefully shoehorn him in there any way you can because Adi's not lighting the world on fire yet, even though he's got some goals in some way. But he's not inspiring too much confidence. So get him out there. Get Alan Cruz out there. If Eric Alexander, who I think is the best player on the team, but if he's starting that Seattle game, that's...
The other sad part about the Crew game was your boy DePlania was not super impressive.
No. I guess his glory days when he played for Montpellier. He was playing center back, but he's been playing outside back for the last few years. But we've got him playing center back. We got Stanko playing center back. Is he totally comfortable playing center back? But yeah, he hasn't covered himself in glory yet. That could be said for most of the players.
I don't have a credible opinion, so I've been told. But I don't think any of these guys look comfortable with 3 at the back.
No. And just in general, no one's been like, I mean, there's some obvious people like Adi's playing up top, and everyone, and the wingers are the wingers. But besides that, no one's looked like they're really like coming into their own in a specific role. So
No, and that was another thing we talked about in the game too. You got Blake Smith playing down the left. He was just terrified to go forward when he came in. Not once. Like, he'd receive the ball, he would never turn to his left to go upfield. Not once. He'd play it back to one of the back three, and they would just be under pressure and have to go back to the keeper or just boot it away every single time. And it was annoying. And what me and Nick were talking about is that was the best part about Blake Smith last season is he wasn't afraid to go charging down the line with the ball and take people on. And you don't know what it is.
Well, overall, I'd give our preseason an A+. I loved it when we couldn't see him. Remember those days? There's a really shitty stream, maybe a cell phone from Montreal for a little bit, and they're like, "Why? We were right in that game. We were gelling." But then you can actually see him. Like, oh, I guess we got some work to do. There's not a Koch watch this week, but
Nick, do you think there's any chance in hell a month into the season we're playing a 3-4-3?
I at this point, I hope not. Here's the biggest thing: is where is our midfield? There is no midfield at all. Like, do you guys remember any legitimate attacks being built out of the midfield? And I got to be cautious here. I can't totally blame the formation, but it just, to me, it seems like there's an additional amount of pressure on our back when the other team has creative players like Higuain or like that Alexander Katai. There's just an additional amount of pressure, and we can't seem to build anything through the midfield. I mean, I'm not totally blaming the formation, but I think that it contributes to that. And if that's the case, I just don't know how we're ever going to gel playing that if we got a bunch of fucking guys that have just coming in to play together for the first time,
Yeah, well, it felt like we were more solid defensively. This might all be in my head. After the card, and we kind of switched to 4 at the back. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And you were saying all along during the game is, like, what the fuck? Let's just play 4-4-2. And, like, I think that's gonna make more sense where we're at right now. So I think that's right. I think you're hitting the nail on the head with the 4-4-2.
And as far as the midfield, yeah, I'm sure he touched the ball, but like I hardly remember Bertone on the ball. Or
Eric Alexander didn't get any touches either.
I have like some recollection when Cruz came on of him carrying the ball a little bit. That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much no one. But people want that Koch watch. People are already on to put the heat on. Yeah, I don't know.
With Koch, like Kevin McCloskey had a tweet the other day, and he said, we gotta be reminding ourselves that we got another whole new group of people coming in, and it's kind of like I was saying a couple podcasts ago. And I know people don't want to hear this, but like we gotta understand that like we're bringing a whole new influx of people. We're trying to figure out what formations work with the personnel that we got. We're also trying to take into account we're playing teams at the highest caliber in North America that have guys that have been playing with each other for a long time. And they play very well together. As much as I like want to be pissed at Koch for the last 2 games,
yes,
I mean I do. I want to because Chicago Fire game was fucking pitiful. I mean, remember last year? Last year didn't start off so well. Everyone was all fucking bummed out, and it took a little bit before we found a groove and started playing very well together. And that might be the same thing that occurs this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at him or angry with Koch. I just I feel like I just have a lack of confidence, which I'm happy to be proven wrong about. If you guys remember my world famous kill shot diss where I said, "Got a coach who can't lose. The call for his firing." I think that sums it up. It's like even when we were winning, I was like, he's look great when we're winning, and you sound like an asshole. It's like if you took away the goals. If they weren't scoring these goals, we wouldn't be winning. I'm fine with sucking the first year. I don't want to be embarrassed, but like I don't have these crazy expectations. I just want to see that first game. See, is he going to roll out what we just saw, formation and team wise? Like, is that going to be basically it? So once I see that Seattle game and I have like something tangible to like, okay, we're really going to go at it like this, I can set my expectations accordingly. But right now I'm still like, oh God, is this how we're going to play? Or is he just doing the ultimate rope-a-dope? And we come out there in a fucking whatever. I can't think of a crazy formation, but something whatever the opposite of what we've been doing. Is like, oh man, you thought you had tape on us? Well, guess what? We're playing 6 up front. We're playing 1 in the back. And we're not using a goalie. But we'll see. So I'll be excited to see that. I really hope we see numbers during the MLS season. That'll be real big if we can get some numbers out there. And I mentioned this to you guys. I saw an Instagram video of the FCC kit guy. He was down there in Charleston with this fucking heat press doing heat transfers on the front of these kits. They had the kit guy there. He's putting those tiny numbers on the front. Why didn't you just put them on the back? But no, doesn't bother me at all. Zach, you breathed.
It, some might say it's not a big deal.
They would be wrong.
But it's really infuriating. It's so fucking stupid.
Just the fact he was down there, I was like, he's there. And it was a video of him putting the tiny numbers on.
Yeah, he's there.
They put it out just to
applying tiny numbers to the front and not putting numbers on the back.
Like, who is that for? And also, I mean,
and anyone wants to say, oh, you can tell who they are, whatever. Just there's a reason players wear numbers.
Yeah.
Just put them on the fucking back. Oh, it's so fucking stupid.
And I don't want to say
I'm getting so upset.
There's no way to prove this, but tell me they wouldn't have played better wearing the new kits. They're out there playing like it's a trainer. They're wearing trainers and they're playing like it's a training session. I think the only way, sometimes, you go to a prom wearing t-shirt and jeans, you're probably not going to strut in the front door with your date. You get that tux, fits so nice. You're king of the world. You're ready to take on all comers. You're ready to drop that V card. So I just think if, God forbid we spoil the new kits that we've all seen, even though our boy Fiddle got to wear his with a number on the back. Nick, true or false, we play better wearing the new kits?
Absolutely play better. Dress for success.
Thank you.
Well, and Koch even said,
and he's a psychologist.
Starting on Sunday, we'll switch to regular season mode. Why don't you try now?
Well, we've got
it's a week away.
We've got that preseason game after the first game.
Yeah. Why on earth?
Any final thoughts on preseason in general from anyone? How you feeling? You feeling better than you were before preseason, worse, or about the same?
I actually feel a little bit worse after those last two games. I guess it really just boils down to that there was so much discombobulation on our offense and trying to build, and that was very frustrating for me to watch. And even the Battery game, we talked about how the Battery had the ball like an uncomfortable amount of time. Are these things I think can get righted? Yeah, of course. But I think after that preseason, I'm actually feeling, I don't know, it's pretty unsettling to see that we had such a hard time. We struggled so much to build almost anything.
Zach, Nick says, sky is falling, Koch out. What do you think?
I feel that way right now, but that'll pass. I'm very excited for the season to start, and
I know we went through every game. I'm not as confident in the home playoff game. Playoff spot, yes. Home playoff spot might be a big ask.
There has been moments when you see our attacking players click for a minute here and there, where they can be super dangerous. There is some speed and skill, so I think we can win some games with them for sure. It's just a matter of
getting
the ball from the back three and up to them.
Which sucks because that's the thing that all the pundits have said. They're like, who's going to get these guys the ball? I'm like, fuck you. Ever heard of Bertoni? Because I did a couple months ago. And I watched one YouTube highlight. But then you watch the games who's going to give these guys the ball? And we had that time, that misleading goal against the Battery that we scored at the beginning. I was like, okay, this is how it's going to work. We're going to win it back. We're going to sprint down the side, 2 passes, cross to the middle, Adi scores. If that works, then that's definitely a way to score. And hopefully Greg Garza can play at some point. I keep forgetting he's on the team. That's got to help. But yeah, so playoffs for sure. Home playoffs a little bit in doubt. But before we go any further, let's take a break in the action. Let's get some logical, cool, calm takes. I haven't heard it yet, but we've got a new MLS Minute from Kevin. That's right. Secretary of the Pride, Red Army's finest, tour guide of the Sign Museum. He does it all, or a few things. So now for this week's edition of Kevin's MLS Minute. Hope we can explain Kevin's MLS Minute. It could get a little strange. Take it away.
In In CCL, Atlanta and Toronto embarrassed the league, although Kansas City beat a Mexican team. Absolutely insane, but MLS Matchday 1 is already here. After being embarrassed in CCL, Toronto plays Philadelphia. A toasty seat already for James O'Connor against NYCFC. First-year expansion side Columbus faces off against Red Bulls. Dallas's Army of Teenagers face off against the also-rans from New England. Nobody cares about RSL or Houston. The Timbers will probably destroy Colorado. A still rebuilding Vancouver will play off-season champions Minnesota. In the most hyped matchup of 2014, it's Zlatan v Schweinsteiger. San Jose's really good coach and really bad team play in a late one against Montreal. And then finally Sunday, 2 really good matchups. DC United against Atlanta for the early game and LAFC against Sporting Kansas City to cap off week 1. All of this is to say, holy shit, we're in MLS.
Oh, baby. Nick, what did you think?
Really like what he said at 45 seconds.
That's where he brought it all home. Remember his first one that was Fall Out Boy themed? You're like, wow, is every one of these going to be a different theme? Nah, it wasn't. It was a one-off. Don't know what inspired that. But I know I'll never forget. Remember that, Brian Malone? That was one of the first 43 that you listened to. You psychopath. Let's move on.
When I saw Brian Malone's tweet, well, the first thing I thought was like, yeah, no shit. These guys don't know what they're talking about. I never claimed to have a clue. Anytime I listen back and I'm talking about the game, I'm like, man, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Hey, I'm just here to hang out with my brother, talk about a team that I like, and I base everything on a vibe. I don't know shit about formations, but this one is not vibing right. So I don't like
sometimes
it.
You just know when you watch. Yeah. Maybe less is more. Voice crack. Also, I don't know. Maybe you heard about Nick, Division I competitive soccer player. Yeah, he's here sometimes. He's got thoughts too. Don't speak, Nick. I speak for you. Let's move on to this week's edition of
Potpourri.
Whoa, baby.
Can we start with Justin Hoyt's branding?
Go ahead, Zach.
It looks bad. And what's the point?
If you didn't hear his setup or if you didn't see Justin Hoyt, he likes what Kendall Waston does. Kendall Waston has a logo, a brand. What does it all mean besides being embroidered on hats? Nobody's quite sure, but Hoyt wanted some of that lucrative action, so he came up with a J, split down the middle, H, and he's out there. He's doing stuff. He's got a team of creatives on his side. I really got to get that Hoyt's Open restaurant shirt out before his brand fucking beats us to it. Nick, what are you thinking?
Well, man, I was really taken back when you guys were telling me that this is kind of like a thing, like, you know, Kendall Watson's got his brand and like Forrest Lasso. Like, I guess kind of knew that things like this occurred, but I never really took the time to sit down and think about it. And it's like the first thing I thought is like, what is he gonna have? Like, is he gonna have like apparel or what? Like, I was fucking clueless, and I'm still kind of clueless. So you're telling me he's gonna like come out with hats and shirts and shit, and people are gonna want to buy it? Is that what I'm gathering here?
Well, what was funny is that's what I said while we were all watching the game. Like, who's gonna buy this? And then I think we were all like, well, people like us like, buy it for fun.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would be a drop in the bucket, the amount of shirt sales. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. Maybe he'll put his like logo on some like hilarious shit, and I could be into that.
Chip clips.
What's something that's open? I got to think about this some more. I know Nick said he's never sat down to really think about Hoyt's branding, which would be weird. Kids, daddy's got to sit down. He's got to think about branding. Leave me alone.
Yeah, you remember that guy that just got smoked in a crew game? Yeah, he's got a fucking T-shirt now. I need to get it. I'm just kidding, Justin. I still love you.
He did look fine, except for when.
Oh, he got toasted.
He really did get. They shook him.
Well, I don't know. I guess like I kind of have problems buying jerseys with like someone's name on back in the first place. Like I don't really like individualized things. I guess because whenever I buy a jersey of a team, it's like I'm never, even like the Bengals or whoever, like I'm never gonna buy a jersey with a name on back most of the time. I'm like just gonna buy that jersey of the team. So I don't know.
I'm picturing a Bengals jersey with no numbers. It is a bad luck.
If he's got chip clips, I'll fucking buy a Justin Hoyt chip clip.
I did buy a bootleg Duplan jersey. And that'll be here in 3 to 12 months. I look forward to that. But yeah, football jersey without American football, without a number on the front, would look fucking hilarious. Just that big black open spot in the Bengals jersey. But what else? I don't know when this happened. What can we really say about it? But FCC and the ballet came to some sort of extortion agreement. That's settled. So it looks like the last impediment on the way to Stadiumville has been rectified.
Also, Just Cookin' got set up
Just
too.
Cookin' also got a lot of money. And where's my handout? Am I right? Fuck. Jeez. What else can you say, folks? What else can you say?
Hey, get yours.
Yeah, I guess so. I did see that what the ballets thing was like noise under the noise mitigation fund. I don't know if that means we bought them a new roof or they're just going to, wear headphones made out of $100 bills so I can't hear the screams and the pain coming from Carlin, their stadium. I don't know. That's literally the only thing I had wrote for Potpourri. The build up to the Crew game, that do anything for you? Do you enjoy... They're still calling us Kentucky FC, which doesn't really make any sense anymore.
Yeah,
they're
still holding Harambe signs.
Yeah, they have 2 Harambe banners. Nick, you had a few spicy Potpourri takes this week. You didn't reveal it to us, and you didn't mention that you had any, but I know something's on the tip of your tongue. Talk to me.
No, I got nothing.
Nice take. Zach, you've been settling into your new bachelor pad.
Yeah, I had had Nick and Jonah over for the game last night, and wow, that stream sucked. No smart TV can save that stream.
Actually, the picture looked fine when it was moving.
Yeah, it looked great, but if it wasn't for 3Def, we'd have been in the lurch.
Actually, 3Def eventually he dropped the ball. His stream died. We were using Darren from the Pride stream.
Sorry, Darren.
Redhead Darren. So thanks, Darren, for your Twitch stream. Sorry.
Yeah, nice Billy Joel at the end.
Justin Hoyt, Corbin Bone, TT is another one. We didn't start the fire. Yeah, I thought that'd be a great idea. Just do it.
Speaking
No.
of
First, a parody of We Didn't Start the Fire, but all we do is name players. Nothing but that. But speaking of which, Nick, go ahead.
No, 3Def. I was just going to point out I did like 3Def's meme of Alex Stack upgrading to FCC. I thought that was pretty funny, and Alex Stack actually liked it too. I did leave the message that she was not her true self, and I didn't get very many likes on that.
It's okay. It's par for the course with your tweets. Don't get a lot of that you deserve, Nick. I don't get a lot of Steck likes. Maybe I don't make memes about her, and she's probably given specific orders by Angry Liz. Do not engage with the knife. That's a direct quote. Do not go grocery shopping with a dick.
All right, Nick, top 3 players of the preseason. Go.
I'm going to go with Lamar. I think he was the guy that did the most for me in regards to possession and offensive production. I liked what I saw from Stenko early on. I didn't really see too much in the last game. I guess he did almost score a goal at one point.
Stenko.
I think out of everybody that was close to that midfield, I felt like he probably did the most for me, but I'm sure I'm not thinking I'm forgetting maybe some errant balls he played or something.
He's not my starting center back.
And
Spencer Maddox.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maddox looks like he had enough energy and the right ideas. He just wouldn't get played very good balls. So yeah, I'll go with Maddox. I think that would be my top 3.
He's allergic to balls.
Maddox will be in my top 3 also, and Lamar. And I think Lasso had a decent preseason. Wow, which game was it where it was in Pat Brennan's Twitter and everyone was praising Forrest Lasso? And I was like, what? I just thought he kept kicking out of bounds the whole game.
I think he was overly praised in the Battery game.
Yeah.
I was like, he didn't score an own goal or anything.
But his defending I thought was pretty good.
Zach, did you want to answer your own question before I totally change gears before we end this?
I just did.
Oh, great answer. Any other thoughts while we, God, it's just one of those weeks. I had so much to say last night, and then it's Sunday, even though we always record on Sunday, and I'm just like, who cares anymore? Brian Malone was right.
once the real season starts,
Oh, baby.
the pod's really going to pick up.
I haven't had a song in months,
Songs, inside sources,
etc. I did make a beat for a diss for all the MLS writers. It's going to go pretty hard. Looks like it's not loading, so hopefully I'll just crash everything. This is going to be way too loud. I can't wait. Nick, you ready?
Yes,
You ready
hit
for this?
me.
You won't be able to hear it, actually.
it'll come through the mic, probably.
We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Bass freestyle over it. Sam Streichel! Fuck you, bitch! Can't think of anyone else's name.
Brian Strauss.
Brian Strauss. You quit Twitter. Suck my dick. A quick hitter. Sorry. No, Brian Strauss, I think, did. He hasn't posted since like November. He gave up. He couldn't take the positivity of Twitter. Meanwhile, everyone else, like Matt Doyle, is bathing in the negativity. But yeah, my final thoughts. Fuck everything. Jesus Christ.
No, I do want to ask what
Please do.
the accusation was. If I remember, no credible opinions.
If you're not going to
What?
have credible opinions, at least be funny.
Well, there
Nope,
was
not
two,
funny.
there's two things here. Then there was something about generational, and it's like, dude, I'm fucking 37, man. Like, like I don't know. Does he think like we're like super young or something? I mean, I don't.
We're immature.
We are immature, but we
okay.
also do have our finger on the pulse of modern pop culture, so we seem younger.
We know both sides.
Oh, that was a very backhanded. No, I don't understand. Like what were we supposed to? What fucking opinions are you supposed to have when like you're just watching a team play together for the first time? Like I don't know. Was it? I don't know. Whatever.
It was an
Suck my
interesting
dick.
episode to give up on. Maybe he's a fan of Liz Summers.
Look, I've heard enough.
I think he's one of the guys that loves bashing people for saying FC. That was my take. I think he's salty about me coming down on him.
The FC. But yeah, that was an interesting one to give up on. There's been plenty of bad ones. I also read the Home Alone screenplay from front to back. Had that Deplan one when I didn't know who he was. There's been some quote-unquote bad episodes as far as talking about the game of soccer.
No,
So
this
that was a very
offseason
strange
This offseason's
choice.
been borderline unlistenable.
How dare you? Tell you what, though, the listens just keep going up. It plateaued the last 2 weeks, so maybe Brian's right. So if you're not growing, you're dying, is what they say in business. So in that respect, we're as good as dead.
I do want to say,
Please do.
after coming off the news last night, that I am bummed that Mitch Hildebrand is retiring. And it was weird because, like, you know, obviously that Fire game will always be just an incredible, like, just a really incredible moment. But when he left the team, I kind of like, yeah. And then when we played ACL2 last year, I was like, yeah, whatever, you know, they're better keepers, whatever. And I obviously still think that. But with him retiring, you know, like, all these emotions came back as I was like, oh, man, it's just such a bummer. He seemed like he had so much more, I don't know, like, left in him. I don't know what the deal is, if it's an injury or something. He seems kind of young still, but regardless, whatever it is, it was a bummer. So, Mitch, if you ever listen to this, and I know you will, thank you for everything.
Some people said he retired last year. Sorry, Nick. No, he had a rough one against FCC. But yes, some would say, I know Max would say, because he said this today, I'll quote him, Kakarot, would say, possibly without GB and Mitch, maybe we're not talking about the MLS right now. So, you know, without those games, that cup run, some of those goals and some of those saves, we might not be sitting here being able to bash our MLS team. We'd be bashing our USL team. So, with that said, good on you, Mitch. Getting emotional. Yeah, Nick's right, but like I said, we don't have a credible opinion. So if Nick says thanks, you know, he might as well be saying fuck him. And if I say fuck him, we might as well be saying thanks, because we don't know what we're talking about. Zach,
It was a breath of sadness, I think.
there's a breath of sadness in the air.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, his move was a mistake, but he had to, right?
Well, apparently he was not from what I told, he wasn't guaranteed a spot or guaranteed a starting spot. So he
With us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he got a
What was the guarantee in Atlanta? Come on.
yeah, but he made guaranteed
Money.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He had to go, but
Zach, your turn. Final thoughts
what time's the game?
in Seattle?
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
Saturday?
I think so.
All right.
It's in Seattle.
All right.
I've heard we've sold over 350 tickets. So a good look. That's, everyone's flying. It's a lot to ask. Well, actually, you didn't have a final thought. You just asked what time the game was.
Sorry.
Final thought. What time is the game? Great point. Nick, how about you? Gonna ask what the temperature is gonna be on Tuesday or something?
I hope we see Maddox, Addy, and Lamar. Cruz. It's hard to say on Waston because that was the first I saw of him.
At the risk of costing us several goals, I hope we see Hoyt out there. I just think it'll be hilarious. But what's Hoyt doing on this team? Like, baby, he's starting game 1. Justin Hoyt. And if we do this formation, there's a good chance he will.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Maybe I'll have some nerves about it on Saturday, but I don't right now because I think it's kind of like we've got nothing to lose. Expectations around the league are low for us.
Seattle's a slow starter in the
Yes,
seasons. I'm
I know.
gonna bank on that.
What do we call this? A draw in our prediction
At
episode?
least a draw, at best.
At least a draw. Yeah, I'm sticking with that.
Fuck yeah, 5-5 draw. Nick.
Yeah, I think it's going to be probably a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1. I think we're going to squeak a goal out, and I think Seattle's going to have 90% of the possession. Unfortunately, I just don't think we're going to somehow find a way to gel going into that game beforehand. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as these last couple games. Honestly, I think there's going to be the adrenaline's going to be pumping them up. They're going to be wearing their jerseys, like he said. That's definitely going to be taking them to the next level. They got
Hopefully
real
the
fucking
white
numbers.
ones.
I'm excited, and part of the excitement is not knowing really what to expect. But yeah, I'm super pumped about it. I think it's going to be one to remember.
I will say my final thought, if we have some time to fit in some more spike ball, fit in some more team walks from point A to point B, I think we got it. I think that'll be the gelling that you need, Nick. It's been there all along. Wearing the SEC cold weather gear and walking from the hotel. That's all these guys need. In fact, I don't even think they should come home. They should go from Charleston to Seattle. Just start walking. Maybe Charleston to Tacoma. Walk it off. Get a little extra walk in there. And as Alan would say, hang 10.
Hang loose.
Hang loose. Whatever. He's Samoan. So my final thoughts, what I just said. No matter what, no matter how little we have to say, we just can't help ourselves, and we have to drag this out for about an hour. I got to cut out 20 minutes of Blippy talk for everyone out there, except for Brian Malone. I knew you'd listen again. I knew it. You couldn't help yourself, Brian.
Amelia, what's good? Me and Jonah will be driving down to Atlanta in 2 weeks. Always room for one more.
At the Airbnb. Sorry, that doesn't make sense. Zach, you told me to say Airbnb, and it really landed flat. So, dick. Nick, I guess you're guaranteed out.
You never know.
Oh, baby.
Well, we're driving Saturday, staying the night, and then pushing it home after the game. I got to go to work on Monday. So.
You're going to be dragging that day. Nick's got a psychology convention in Tempe, Arizona.
No, just what time you leaving Saturday? I'll let you know.
Let's work this out on air.
Probably early. Make it worthwhile.
Okay, I'll let you know. No.
All right. Goodbye. Rise together.
First place forever.
First place forever. We won the cup. Didn't check the final standings. Assuming we won. So nice to get some silverware. See you later. Goodbye. Stop listening. Roll credits.
Whatever it is I do, I try to think about you. I have a love for you, but nothing hides me. Whatever it is I do, I'm always thinking of you. I hope you look at me, the patient eyes. I've become amused, I've become blind, I've become what I know not breathes. You seem illiterate to all my emotions, I stand corrected. How well you read, you speak the truth, you speak to me, you feel the love I have yet to find. I know it's there, I know it's there, but I let the sandcastles kill my mind. Pathetic me, I long to be you. I think I'm close, but I stand so far. The turbulent one sheds a turbulent tear. I miss the love only cause they starve. Oil and water, lust and sympathy, our life and death, my way through the sun, where originates all the pain that leaves my memory a traumatic sponge and sinks to you. Open up your mind and it will sing to you. I left reality early due to the lack of love. Reason. How I long to contradict those vibes. Joni, help me. I think I'm falling. It's not the love, and I quest the why. I don't know.